Hello, Timmy Nafso here, Executive Vice President and co-founder of Fortis Pay. We're discussing hotels, panic buttons for housekeepers, and the law, right? So what we've seen recently is this idea behind what is a big win for the hashtag #MeToo movement, right? Protecting housekeepers across the country who are really in vulnerable situations. There are thousands upon thousands of cases that are not even reported of housekeepers being in a guest room and a guest sexually harasses them or crosses the line with the housekeeper, putting them in a very vulnerable situation. We all understand that it is our responsibility, whether you're a business owner, a hotel owner specifically, motel owner, to protect and make sure our team is safe at all times. The first entire state to actually create a law around panic buttons is New Jersey, and they are really pushing this initiative. You're also hearing from the Marriott brand, who historically has led the charge prior to laws coming out of staying ahead of things that become inevitable, right? So Marriott is already testing properties with the panic buttons around the housekeeper's neck or in different formats. There are cell phones that are coming out, iPhones, devices that are helping them to stay safe. Discussing this idea of law comes with a lot of back and forth. And what I mean by that, although the intention of this law is amazing, and we of course want to see housekeepers be protected, right? They're often family people. Typically, a high percentage are women that are housekeepers. And then also, as for those of us that are hotel owners or managers, we see the craziest stories as it relates to what happens in a hotel that the general public would just never believe. And it's amazing, and you would not put anything past the guest and what they would actually do in a room by themselves with a housekeeper, what they attempt to do. So housekeeper safety is number one. The safety of our team's very important, right? But let's talk about the implementation of that, right? So if somebody were to hit the panic button and you're at a smaller property, right? What happens? And right now they're saying 100 rooms or more, as the state of New Jersey is stating, if you have 100 rooms or more, you must have a panic button. But why are we ignoring the 75 rooms or the 50 rooms? It's important to them too. So you hotel owners out there, how do we make sure they're protected? But when that panic button is hit, who is coming? Right? If the general manager is busy and they don't have security on staff, what happens at that point, and who is liable for this issue that could actually come up of no follow through as it relates to the law? So if programs implemented, it's very important that that panic button really does work and somebody comes to the rescue. And there should be several points for that happening. The panic should hit a general manager, an assistant manager, front desk. I mean, everybody should know that somebody's in danger, no different than pulling a fire alarm. You pull that fire alarm, and it's not just a general manager or security guard that knows. The entire hotel knows that a panic is happening here related to a fire. So we're certainly encouraging, go hard at this, right? Make sure that you really are putting this program in place. The law is stating you got to make sure that the guest is aware, right? That there's prevention through that type of communication to the guest. It should be on the back of the guest room door. But also in addition to that, when they're checking in, make sure they're aware. No different than when you put a sign on your window at home or at the business saying, this property is being watched by cameras, right? Monitored by cameras. Well, what that does is it serves as a deterrent. If you thought about it, you better not while you're here at this property. So love that part of it. One thing that I believe also should be part of kind of the hotel rules and policy, and actually a law. I know they're going to technology with this, but there's this other perspective as well. This fear factor of the housekeeper forgot their panic button, or the panic button battery didn't work and it was dead, right? There's all of these different logistical issues that can come up in the management of these devices that it brings up a concern to me personally coming from the hotel business. One rule or law that we had, internal law that we had at our property, was if the guest was in the room, we would not clean your room. It just was part of the experience to help protect our teams. So for those of you that are in a situation of a hotel that's like, look, man, this is a really costly technology, or we don't have the manpower to manage this thing, you don't have to be in a situation where it has to be the button, right? If it's not a law, but you certainly could put steps in place for your property to help protect your team, which is very important. They have to feel safe. We have to protect them. In order to do so, we apologize, Mr. Guest, Mrs. Guest. If you are in the room at any point, the housekeeper cannot be in there with you. If you want your room cleaned, you have to leave the room during that time. And that's something that can help provide an additional level of security for your housekeeper while they're cleaning rooms, right? Things like the door has to remain open at all times. And if somebody comes into the room and works around your housekeeping cart, which should be positioned right in front of the guest's door so nobody can get in or out, right? Except for the housekeeper that's in the room. And somebody moves in and gets in, the housekeeper then can leave that room and say, you know, obviously I can't be in here while you're doing that. Panic buttons certainly can be an additional level there, but at the most common or basic level, this is coming, folks, right? We see it kind of move in trends of we need to protect people. Housekeepers need to be protected. In Las Vegas, they're going well beyond just housekeepers. They're talking about, well, how about, you know, cocktail wait staff? How about other person, you know, the people that are delivering food, room service, and they're coming into the room and they're taking apart everything while somebody's sitting there in the room. That's an uncomfortable situation where obviously you can't ask them to just leave the room while you set up their room service, right? So a lot of these different angles start to become tricky for the hotel space. Love to hear your ideas and thoughts as to how this is going to move. Please comment below and subscribe. Appreciate it.